Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Snowy day over here. We have a snow day from school, so I'm sure everybody is having a nice, jolly old time. And today we're going to be talking about what it is we could do to start to take the action we know we're supposed to be taking. Because it's interesting, but I was speaking to a client of mine, and one of the things that he was mentioning is that he knows exactly what he needs to be doing. The question is like, why can he get himself to do it? And I hear this over and over and over again, that we have an idea of what it is we should be doing, but we just can't pull ourselves to do it. So today, I want to talk about different strategies that we can start to use in our own lives to make sure that we just take those actions. And I think once we have that ability to start taking action in spite of maybe not feeling it or trying to hijack ourselves in order to be able to feel it, then we're going to be able to take the action. And we all know the action is going to lead the results. And once we could do that, once we could say, hey, the discipline is going to be the thing that's going to help us become successful, then we'll be able to start to see the success that we want. Because everybody wants to achieve certain things, whether it's personally or professionally, and understanding that we all have the ability to achieve it. We just have to take the action. So if we're not feeling it, if we're out of it, if we're just not in the zone to be taking the action, what is it we can start to do to be able to take the action? And we have to have certain expectations. And I think to start, the expectation of like everything needs to get done today is an ideal, but we shouldn't be beating ourselves up, because so many times I see so many people who don't take the action because they don't think they could take so much. And I remember this used to happen to me. When I used to want to go on a run, and I'm like, I'm exhausted today, or maybe I have a meeting coming up and I can't do my normal run. So I used to just push it to the side and just not do it. And then one day I was like, why don't I just go on a shorter run? Instead of doing a 20-25 minute run, I'll do a 10-minute run. Okay, it's not ideal, but at least I'll get in a run. And once I did that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've wasted so many times that I could have gone running and I just didn't do it. And recognizing that is something that could really change things. And once we can start to shift those different ideas about what it is that is really possible, then we can really start to move forward and start to take the action that we want to be taking and to get the results that we really want to be getting. And I think that is something that is so key, that so many people have such trouble with, because they know what it is they need to be doing. They just can't take the action. So recognizing that is going to be something that we need to start to understand when it is that we're looking to move forward. But when we're looking to take the action, so many times what really is going on is that there's a certain fear that is there. And in next gen, when I speak to the 15 to 23-year-olds that I work with, one of the things that we talk about is this idea of fear of failure. And it's real, it's legit. And there's so much failure that is, that has happened in the past that we reframed as failure. And because we're framing it as failure, we're not able to move forward. And we can start to recognize, hey, you know what? We have the ability to change things up. We have an ability to reshift what it is that we're looking to say and do right now. And then we can move forward into the action. That's going to be the thing that's going to really help us propel us forward. And once we do that, that is going to be the thing that's going to make sure that we're going to see the success that we want. So when it comes to not taking action, are we not taking action because we just don't think that, because there's something there that's holding us back? It's really holding us back from moving forward. And what is that thing? And I remember there was one time I was working with this woman, and she was telling me how she does stocks, and she's very successful. She has been very successful, I should say, and she's been having a hard time. And she's so scared to invest money in stocks. But I'm like, the way you make money is by putting money into it, and then hopefully it goes down. And she's saying she has a great formula and things are going well. She just can't do it. She can't be doing well as she thinks she can be doing. And we started talking about it, and it happened that in the past, there were 2 times where she made a lot of money. She made a buttload of money. And then all of a sudden, right after that, she lost even more money. It happened 2 times that she was able to see that success, and then it happened she fell off the cliff. And what we have to understand, and what she started to understand, is oh my gosh, she started connecting the dots. There's a pattern here. Whenever I think I'm going to become successful, all of a sudden I had this big failure, and I don't want to hit that failure. And therefore she's self-sabotaging herself to not become successful. And that is something that is so key and so important, that she never connected the dots, because that story happened over the course of 15 years. And she just never thought about it like that. And because of that, she was able to say, how can I reframe this? How can I learn from the past, get the feedback from the quote unquote failure, and move forward to make sure that I can start to take that action. And once we can start to do that, then we have the ability to start slowly moving forward and taking that action. I think another way that we can start to take action when it comes to failure is to say, hey, how can I break this down into really small steps? Practically, there are a bunch of steps over here. What can I do? And really just break down in a way that I can start to say, hey, there's a lot going on here, but I just need to take one action. And it goes back to that idea. We don't need to be doing everything at once. And so many times we get so overwhelmed with all the things that need to get done. And it's just not true. Like, we don't have to do it, because the amount of time we are wasting by not taking the action, we have the ability to start taking smaller actions and get the thing done. So recognizing that is going to be important. And most of the time, the thing that we're scared of doing doesn't take as long as like we thought it would. It's like you have to respond to that email, or you have to go, I don't know, go speak to somebody. Like, it doesn't take a lot of time. And usually the energy it's draining of us is so much that it's just not worth it. So recognizing, hey, it's going to hurt like ripping off the Band-Aid, but just like ripping off the Band-Aid is only in a second, then you'll be totally fine as well over here. So I think realizing that also, it's like, what are the basic steps that we could break it down to? And by breaking it down to, then we could start to understand, okay, logistically, what am I supposed to be doing? And once I could start to really see all the different steps, then we can move forward. In the program, we talk about reverse engineering and how we could break down our goals into really small chunks. And we start at the end of the goal, and we start to break it down backwards to see, what is the thing I need to be doing today? What is the one thing? What is the smallest thing? And when you do it like that, we can start to really move forward. I had another client of mine who wanted to own 200 units after 2 years. And that was a great goal. And if he thinks about just the 200 units, that's really scary. But we were able to break it down and chunk it down into small bits, that the week that we were in, all he had to do was just to reach out to 3 brokers. He didn't even need them to respond. He just needed to reach out to them and just say, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm looking to buy properties in this area. Do you know anything? Have you heard of any deals that came up? And just starting that relationship with them and recognizing that if we could start to take these huge, massive goals that we have, maybe it's not even so massive, maybe it's just something we need to do. We need to go to the DMV, right? We need to like fill out our passport application, whatever it is. What's the next thing we need to be doing? What's the piece of paper that I could print out today? I don't even need to fill out the form. What's the piece of paper I could print out? And then we can start to really understand what it is we can start to do to move forward. And by doing that, then we have the ability to make sure that things are going to happen. And I think so many times people are so stuck when it comes to these different ideas that they're not thinking about it. And if we could just really just break it into smaller steps, it could be something that could be so helpful for us. The next idea is to recognize that we're going to sometimes need some accountability. And it's interesting because I was speaking to one of the guys in Next Gen, and he was telling me how when it comes to his schoolwork, he's like very organized, and he's like very on top of his schoolwork. But when it comes to anything else, he just procrastinates like crazy, and he doesn't take advantage of those opportunities. And we're trying to figure out like what the difference is. And it's interesting because he has, when in school, like it makes sense. Like he has structure, he has like a formula to follow, and he has like his teacher to hold him accountable for doing the work. And if he doesn't do the work, then there's going to be repercussions of not doing, not passing the homework or not doing well on the tests, whatever it is. And I think it's such an important idea and a lesson that if we can start to structure our own days and we can start to move forward with what it is that we need to be doing, then we can have that success. And I think so many times people are held back, especially entrepreneurs, because they don't have a boss. They could literally do whatever they want all day. They could wake up whenever they want, technically. They could, they don't have to do their outreach. You know what I'm saying? Like they could do whatever it is. And so many times if we don't have those structures, if we don't like build that foundation of what that structure is going to look like, you don't have those people who are going to be checking in on us. And yes, I highly recommend getting somebody like a coach or a mentor or somebody, a partner, just so you can have that structure to say, hey, this is what we're doing to stay on track and stay focused. Then we can start to move forward and start to see that success. And so many times people are just wasting so much time because they don't have that structure. And if we can start to work on it and we can implement a structure in our own days, then we can start to become successful. So if you're trying to work out or if you're trying to eat healthier, what is the structure that you can put in your day? When are you going to be eating your meals? When are you going to be preparing your meals? When are you going to go buy your meals, right? What is it that we're going to be doing in order to make sure that we can start to see that success? And over time, we're going to see that the more accountability we have, the more action we're going to take, the more action we take, the more success we have. The more success we have, the better we're going to feel about what is we're going to be doing and what we're going to be accomplishing. And then we're going to be hopefully living that life that we want to be living. We all have an ideal life that we want to be living. There's that ideal life that we want to be able to take advantage of. And it's on us to have that ability to know what this is what we need to be doing. And once we do that, then we can start to really move forward with that. So recognizing that is going to be huge when it comes to all the work that we're going to be doing. What is it that we're going to be doing? How is it that we can be doing it? What is the structure that I need to put into place? Who are the people around me that I need? And if I don't know, who can I start to speak to who might know certain people? It could be someone really, really beneficial. If anybody has any questions about any coaches, feel free to reach out. I've trained a bunch of coaches. I've worked with a bunch of coaches. I know a lot of different people in a lot of different fields. So if you're looking for a specific person, I could definitely help you out and definitely help refer you to somebody. So make sure to reach out. You can find us on our website at bwschwartz.com or nextgennavigator.com over there, and you can really find us out. Okay, but Bennett, it's all nice and dandy, but like my problem is I can't take the action. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, how am I supposed to get myself to take the action? Like, I know what the action is, and even if I break it into just a small steps, and I have a structure, and I have people telling me, on my back, what is I need to be doing, and I have to be accountable to them. What am I supposed to do to get myself more connected to really take that action? So 2 things. Number 1 is understanding we have to get very clear on our why. And I think once we can start getting more clear on our why, we have the ability to really start to take action in terms of what it is we want to be doing. And that's something that is so powerful when it comes to all the work that we're looking to do, that we have the ability to really take the action that we want. And once we see that, then we can start to move forward with the work that we want to be doing. And I think so many times people don't really recognize that. So many times people don't have that mindset in terms of why is it that I'm doing the thing that I'm doing? Why is this thing important to me? Like, I know I should be doing this, but like, what's going on? And not on the surface level. Like, let's peel the onion back a little bit on 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And what is really going on there to allow ourselves to see why it is we're doing this thing? Because if we could start to get a little bit more understanding, so then maybe the importance side of the scale is going to be more important, or going to weigh down more than the nervous side of the scale. And then we can start to look to take action that way. And I think so many people aren't really clear with why it is they're doing what they're doing, and realizing, you know what, it's not just about making a sales call. It's about really helping me grow my business so I can really support my family, so I can start, helping more people, and I can be just doing X, Y, and Z. And then recognizing that, the deeper we get, then we have the ability to start to move forward. And that is something that is so important that so many people don't necessarily think about. So when it comes to taking action, why is it that we're taking the action? Why is it that we want to take the action in the first place? And recognize there's so many different ways that we can go about it. And once we start to recognize that, then we can have the ability to really move forward and start to take that action. So if we could get clear on our why and really make it like emotional to us, and I would say the more emotional you could get about it, emotionally attached you could get about it, I think the more powerful it's going to be. So then we'll be able to really move forward and really start to take advantage of those different areas. And then the next idea, and it's interesting because like you listen to all these podcasts, and I think a lot of these more quote unquote more successful people, I mean, who knows if they're actually successful or not, but all the people who everybody talks about as being more successful. So for them, they all talk about how they needed to prove somebody wrong, or they needed to like grind it out because it was like so bad in their lives, and really like everything was like terrible. So they need to go the extreme opposite, and they started just like working like crazy to see that success. So we have to understand that whether it's that way of tapping into this quote unquote like fear or scared or needing to prove yourself to other people, or whether it's the opposite of way of saying like, I really just want to tap into my potential, and I'm just going to get so excited about my goals, and I'm going to be lit up by just the possibilities and the opportunities that I'm going to be having. Whatever direction that you want to be going, if we could emotionally get involved, our emotions involved in it, that's the thing that's going to be able to drive our engine. Because whether it's needing to prove yourself, or whether it's you're just pumped up and excited every day to have the impact that you're going to be having, both of those are using energy or energy levels in order to propel us forward. And if we could do whatever it is we need to be doing in order to become more successful, that's going to be the thing that's going to really help us forward. They do say, though, those people who do it because they need to prove to somebody, there comes like a big time where they get like a big slap in the face after they've seen the success, that they get humbled by that experience. They say, you know what, it's not about proving myself to my dad or my teacher or my friends anymore. It's more about me and owning it to myself. And there's usually a switch there. So I would just say, heads up if you go that route. But at the end of the day, like, those people have seen the success doing that. So recognizing that if we all have the ability to really move forward and take that action, and realize emotionally we could charge ourselves up to move forward, to take that action. Because if you're saying that I really need to make 100 sales calls a day, or else I'm going to not have a house to live in anymore, or my mortgage to pay, or my rent to pay, whatever it is, like that's a lot scarier. And like you're going to be able to make those calls because that's more scarier than, the scare of somebody saying, the fear of somebody saying no to you. So recognizing that, and just, I would say, use what you got. So whatever it is that you have, make sure that you're using it. Don't feel guilty about it. Yeah, understand down the line, we might need to tweak it. We might have shifted different ideas, but recognizing that we have to use our emotions to move forward. Because right now, emotionally, we're scared or we're fearful of something fear of failure, fear of success, even imposter syndrome, whatever it is. But if we can start to move forward and say, hey, there's more here that I can start to take action with, that's going to be the thing that's going to really help us propel us forward to take that action. So use what you got. I say be cautious in terms of using it more than negative energy, just because later on you might have a bigger fall, but you might get hit in the face. But at the end of the day, like if that's what you have right now, like use it, because so many times people have used it and have seen that success. So those are the different ideas in terms of what it is we can do to start to take that action. So recognizing that we could just break it down into smaller chunks, we can understand why it is we're doing, get that accountability partner or that mentor, that friend or that partner or whoever it is that you need on board on your team in order to help you move forward. Recognize why it is we're doing what we're doing. And if we could do that, we can get emotionally charged up, then we'll start to really be able to take the action and to really try to moving forward and really do the things that we want to be doing. We all have the ability. We all know what it is we need to be doing. We all know the next two steps. Right? We all know the next two steps. So the question is like, what's delaying us from taking those two steps? And if we could start to move forward and take those two steps, that's going to be the thing that's going to really help us move us forward. And by doing that, we're going to start to see the success that we want and really literally create the lives that we want, which I think is something that most people are trying to do or hoping to do. And the difference between the people that are hoping for it to happen and the people who make it happen are the ones who are looking to take action. So even though there is fear there, even though you're nervous, take the action in spite of it, embrace it, understand that it's normal, it's part of the growth. And once we do that, then we can look to start to move forward. All right, if anybody has any questions, like always, feel free to reach out and I'll see everybody on the next one. Have a good one.